everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tails Crafts. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm starting off this video by announcing the winner of the product showcase video. I am giving away a $50 gift card to one lucky commenter, and that commenter was Bad Bunny 4519. So congratulations to the winner. I will reach out to her in the comments to make sure she gets that gift card. So anyway, today's video is going to be 3 pop-up lanterns, obviously using the A7 pop-up lantern die set, the new basic Halloween panel, and the spooky window Halloween panel. I'll have a lantern for each of those. And then just to accessorize those, I will also pull in the Halloween night die set there. And then I wanted to use some leftover leaves and sunflowers I had from a previous project, so I'm also going to pull in the assorted fall leaves and the layering sunflower die set from last year. Again, just like I did in my last couple videos, I like to pre-die cut all of my cards before I start filming and put them all into Ziploc bags. So you can see I cut the lantern base from cream shimmery heavyweight cardstock. And then on the back of them, I'm going to add an acetate behind each window. This is going to give the look of glass. You guys know I love acetate. It is one of my favorite card making supplies. So I am just flipping those base pieces around and covering the backside windows with the acetate using some liquid glue. And then I die cut my lantern panels using the basic lantern panel die set from last year. I die cut that from an orange mirror cardstock. It's kind of like a rose gold color. Then you can see over to the right I have my topper piece for the lantern die cut from the same cream shimmery cardstock. And what I've learned from filming this video is I actually prefer that the topper or the roof of the lantern is cut from a lighter weight cardstock. I find that it just stays down better when the card is sitting upright. And I discover that in the next 2 cards that I create because I ran out of heavyweight black, so I didn't have a choice. I had to use lightweight at the top, and it worked very well. So I'll probably do that moving forward. So definitely, you know, I always advocate for heavyweight cardstock for pop-ups in general, at least for like the main base part of it. But sometimes if you mix lighter weight and heavyweight together, it overall folds nicer or it stands upright better. So definitely play around with different paper weights. So you can see instead of adding, or I think actually I did add acetate behind each of the windows, but I didn't have to do it on one of them because as you saw I covered it with some craft cardstock. That is because I wanted the back of the lantern to have a space to write a message. So you don't have to add acetate to one of those windows, you can just add regular craft cardstock. Alright, so in the front of all of these lanterns I am adding that rose gold panel. And having that acetate there gave me a little bit of more surface area to glue that panel down, which is nice. On my other 2 cards, I'll be using vellum instead of acetate. I do like vellum because it dilutes the light inside it and it gives more of a glow. Alright, so I'm going to attach these 2 base pieces together. I added double-sided tape to each of the glue tabs. And then here I have one long piece. When you attach 2 of them together, I'll add my other strip of glue here, or tape, remove the backing, and then just join each end together to close the base off, and that creates the base of the lantern. So I do have a couple video tutorials on this pop-up already, so that's why I am going a little bit faster here. For the topper of the lantern, I cut the base once from the heavyweight cream cardstock. Again, a lighter weight would work a little better here. And I'm going to point those 2 glue tabs upwards. You can see there's 2/4 inch tabs up there. And now I'm taking my strong double-sided tape And I'm going to add glue to the left and right triangles on this piece. If you look at it carefully, you can see that there are basically four quadrants on this. There is the top where those 1/4 inch glue tabs are, the left, the bottom, and the right. So you're going to want to add your tape to the left and right quadrant, and within each quadrant there are 2 smaller triangles. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the backing on that tape. I'm also going to add some glue here just in case I have to wiggle it around, but all you have to do is pinch those 2 triangles towards each other in the center and give that glue a couple seconds to dry. You can flatten it to make sure it adheres nicely, and then when you pop it up, you get this little pyramid shape. So we want to get rid of those flaps that are on the inside of the pyramid, so I'm going to take some more double-sided tape, add it to the left triangle towards the top of it, and then glue it upwards. And then on the second triangle on the right, I'm going to add tape to the bottom of the triangle inside and glue it to the bottom of the pyramid. So you just want each triangle to go in opposite directions. It doesn't matter which one goes up and which one goes down, as long as they both go in the opposite direction. So then all that's left is to add the pyramid inside the base. And to do that, you're going to add your 1/4 inch tape to those glue tabs on the pyramid. I'm also going to add glue here so that I can wiggle this around. And on the base, there is 1/2 inch score lines towards the top where that decorative edge is. And those score lines are there so that you know how deep to place your pyramid inside. So you're going to line up basically the score line of the glue tab to the score line on the base. You're going to pick any 2 corners to attach these tabs to, it does not matter. And then here I'm just kind of wiggling it, and I like that placement. So I'm going to take my fingers in there and just flatten those 1/4 inch tabs so that it is completely stuck down. And then you can also fold it, and that will also make sure that it adheres nicely. And that finishes off the actual pop-up. So now we can decorate it. I decided to use the 3 candles that are included in the lantern pop-up die set. I cut them from the same cream shimmery cardstock as the base, layered up 2 candles so that it's a little bit heavier. And then at the top, I'm going to add my candle flames. And this card, I'm going to use some Pear Blossom Press Easy Lights. And I wanted to add a light behind each candle. So I opted for the 3 light option. Amanda also has a single light, which I use on a lot of my other pop-ups. So what I'm going to do is, all you have to do is add the battery inside and you're done. Then all you have to do is glue your wires and hide them. So I'm adding 1 wire, or I guess each wire behind each of the flames on my candle. And I'm using Scotch tape to hold down that wire. And I did not cut through the candles. You saw there that I glued the yellow flames right on top of the cream, but you're going to still see the glow from the lights even without having to cut a hole or anything like that. So I just opted to leave it, especially because that light you're going to see reflected and bounced back from the acetate. So yes, all right. So now I have to add a bridge to the bottom of this lantern. This bridge is included in the lantern die set. All you have to do is fold in those glue tabs, add tape to them or glue, and just stick it there at the bottom. I did move it a little bit closer to the front so that you can better see these candles. And then I have to shorten the wire so that it can stick to the front of my card. So I just bunched it there in the back, added some more tape to make sure that's nicely secured, and you really won't see this because I covered the back with craft cardstock, and you're not going to see through the window on that back piece. All right, so now I'm going to add glue to the candle so that I can attach it to the bridge. And then I'm going to glue the battery to the front of my base. So I'm taking some more Scotch tape. I need to first glue some more of those wires down just to make sure they're nicely secured. They're not going to fall out. And then my battery pack is going to go on the bottom left. So again, just taking some more Scotch tape, hiding those wires on the right side a bit. And then I'm going to add strong double-sided tape to the actual battery pack, which is what I'm doing here. And then that's going to stick to the front of my card base. It's like the perfect width to hide under there. So here's that double-sided tape. I just added that right to the battery, glued it to the front, and then you can just press it down. I decided not to add a push here button just because I really just didn't want a push here button. I wanted to add a sentiment down there. And I plan on taking this card to trade shows where I will show people at the show how it lights up. I know where the light is, so if I were to mail this card, I definitely would add a push here button, but I decided not to for this card. So here are all my leftover leaves and my sunflowers. I also had the word blessed that I'm going to add to the bottom. The word blessed comes from the Slimline pop-up stand. No, sorry, the Slimline staircase. These are the layering sunflowers from last year, and all of the leaves are from the assorted fall leaves. I die cut most of them from like vibrant fall colors. Some of them I also cut from specialty mirror cardstock, glitter. And I still have a lot of leftovers here even after making this card. But these leaves are just so pretty. I didn't want to add too many to overwhelm it. But I did stick quite a few down. I added a cluster on the top right with the yellow sunflower, and then I'll add a small cluster to the bottom left. I'm also going to add the word blessed. That fit perfectly down there. Still just trying to figure out what leaves I want to add there. I wanted to have a solid one that didn't have a second layer to it so that the blessed could glue on top. And I thought I was done here, but I opted to add just a few more green leaves up near the sunflower. And those I actually die cut from the layering sunflower die set. There are a couple leaves included in that. And then here I just flipped the lantern around so I can show you that you can write a message if you want. I think these would be gorgeous Thanksgiving place settings. And instead of adding the word blessed, you can add the guest's name. So here I'm adding those green leaves. I felt like I needed another color. And then that pretty much finishes off my first card design. I'm just gonna click the button and it lights up. I think that's really fun. I love pear blossom lights, and I will have them linked down below. I will go ahead and turn off the lights so that you can see how bright those lights are. And again, I did not add any holes behind the flames. You're just seeing the glow that's kind of bouncing off the back of the lantern. All right, so now I'm going to work on my 2 Halloween lanterns, and to the backs of the lantern windows, I'm going to add vellum instead of acetate this time. This is a partially see-through paper, so you can kind of see inside it, but what I love about vellum is it almost dilutes the light that's inside, and it just creates an awesome looking glow. So highly also recommend this product if you don't have vellum already. And on my next 2 samples, I'm going to use a tea light instead of the easy lights. Tea lights are nice and easy to add. and they're pretty inexpensive. So I love that they can be basically permanent home decor pieces, and the light can be on the entire time with that tea light. So I die cut the basic Halloween lantern panels from silver mirror cardstock, and I'm just going to glue those to each of the open windows. Again, I realize that I want one of the panels to be backed with solid cardstock so I can write a message. And here's where I messed up. I should have added that gray cardstock after assembling my card, because you'll see, because I opted to just choose this random rectangle, the front of my lantern didn't match up with the back, so my back side ended up being on the left or the right, and you'll see I have to cut this lantern open again and redo it. So I left it in the video because this kind of thing happens all the time. But I did want the front and back of my lantern to have the spider web design, and I'm also going to cut off that hanging spider so that you can see more of what's inside the lantern. But yeah, when I go to assemble this, I realize nothing's lining up the way I wanted it to. You can see I left one window without a vellum panel. That is because I want you to see through the inside. Inside, I'm going to add the little haunted house from the Halloween Night die set. So only the sides will have that vellum showing through. But again, it's going to look cool from all angles because you'll see the light through the vellum. All right, so here I added my double-sided tape. I connected each piece together. I'm going to now close it. And this is where I realize that that gray piece is over to the right side and not to the back. So unfortunately, you can see the vellum through the back, which is what I was trying to avoid. So I went ahead and just freehand cut these panels off. I could not pull them off. The glue was already dry at this point. I didn't feel like die cutting these again, especially because I did use silver mirror cardstock, which is a specialty cardstock. It costs more. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to cut them off the base, throw away the base, and recut the base. And then these have a little bit of dimension because I did cut around them as opposed to trying to pull them off. I did have to add more vellum. So now I'm making sure that this backside will line up with my front. I'm going to add a second piece of gray to the inside so that it's nice and clean. And then on those two remaining windows, I will add my bat panel and the little witch on the broomstick panel. What I like about this particular panel die set is that you can use the witch on all four sides of the lantern, or you can use the bats, or you can mix and match them, which is what I'm doing. But you can get multiple looks with one panel set, which I like. All right, so now here we go again. I'm going to close off the base, and that's much better. Go ahead and reinforce the score lines by folding it flat. Make sure that that tape is nicely adhered down. Here I decided to cut off the spider. I will glue the spider back to the back of the card later on, so I did keep the spider. And here's the haunted house I wanted to use. I cut that from silver mirror. This is a completely monochromatic design. I added my bridge to the bottom, fairly close to the front because I want to have some room behind the haunted house for my tea light. So I added a tiny bit of glue to the bottom where it's going to attach to the bridge. Give that a couple seconds to dry. And then I'll work on my topper piece. So again, I cut this from lightweight cardstock, and I didn't even add the strong tape to this. I just used liquid glue. I'm just gonna hold that down for a bit, make sure that's fully dry. And then again, I'm going to add glue to each of the triangles inside. I will glue one triangle upwards and one downwards. Now on the glue tabs, I did add double-sided tape and glue. I'm pretty sure. Okay, never mind. I guess I just added liquid glue. I lined up that pyramid inside the base, and it really doesn't matter what corner you decide to glue your glue tabs. Once you line it up with those score lines that are on the base, you can go ahead and fold it flat. And because I used lighter weight cardstock, I feel like the lantern, or the roof of the lantern, is staying down more, which I really like. All right, so I did add the lantern topper, and this spider web is from the same Halloween night die set. Our new collection has so many little dies you can use to decorate these lanterns. I went for more spooky lanterns today, but you can use the Perfect Night die set as your accessories if you want to make cute lanterns. So I have a couple more silver elements I have die cut from the same Halloween night die set. There is a ton of dies included in that set, including the spider and the tree. I thought about adding the tree to the bottom left corner, but I thought it was a little bit too much. So I am going to offset the branches with some black cardstock, and later on I'm going to cut apart the branches and just stick them inside the lantern. But I felt like it was too much at the bottom left, so I'm going to keep that to the side for now. I thought it would be fun to have a sentiment down there and also a sentiment for the back of my card. So I have every sentiment from the cute Halloween and the scary Halloween party stamp set. I chose Trick or Treat and Monster Night Party, I think, that I'm going to add to the bottom of the lantern. It fit perfectly down there. I will pop it up with some other layers of cardstock. I also, from the same stamp set, die cut and stamped out the bats. What I like is that these images were stamped on gray cardstock instead of white, so it matches the color scheme. So I'm just going to add a couple of those around. I did pop them up with some extra die cuts. And I think that finished off the front of the card nicely. And then on the back, I'll add my Trick or Treat. I thought about adding it to the top. I did like it up there so that I could have room to write the message where I'm currently gluing it, but it was just slightly too big for the top of the lantern, so I just glued it to the center. You can opt not to do that and add your message there. So here are those spiders that I cut off from the lantern panels. I'm just going to glue those on either side. And then I also thought about using that tree again in the back, but decided to cut the branches off and just tuck them behind the front of the lantern. I added glue to the front of the branches so that it would stick right behind there. It just added another level of depth that I really like. It looked a little more spooky. So now I'm going to add my purple light. I also have an orange light. I love this part of any kind of light up card, is picking out what tea light color to use. So that's the purple, and then here's the orange. Let me know what color you like more. I kind of like the purple. I feel like the purple works better with the cooler tones of the silver. But as you can see, it's super cool when you turn the lantern to the side and see that vellum underlay. All right, so for my final lantern, I'm going to be using the Spooky Halloween Window lantern panel. And I have to say, this is one of my favorite dies from the newest release. I wish I made it into a slimline cover plate, or I made these into larger dies, because you can do so much with them. As you can see, they look amazing just cut from black cardstock, but you can cut them from glitter and paper piece all the elements that are inside the window. So the skeleton I die cut from white glitter cardstock. All the little eyeballs I cut from yellow glitter. And then for the black cat, I cut that from black glitter. So this did take a little bit of extra time, but I think it was so worth it in the end because the rest of my card is fairly simple. So having these pops of colors was really fun. All right, so then I have the pumpkins that I cut from orange glitter. And the ghost. And then I think that panel is done. Actually, no, there are 2 little yellow eyes that I'm going to add to the top there. And then for my final panel, there are 2 little ghosts on this one, and then I did die cut the spider from black glitter. And then there are a couple extra eyeballs. So I really, really love how these Halloween lanterns turned out. I knew when I designed the A7 pop-up lantern last year for Christmas that I had to add some Halloween panels. I have quite a few Halloween lanterns for regular Halloween decor in my house, and I'm going to display these also as Halloween decor with the tea lights added to them, which I think is really fun. I think you can even buy tea lights with timers in them, so they only stay on 6 hours a day. All right, so these are all my panels completely paper pieced. I definitely feel like it was worth the extra time to paper piece those elements inside the window. It just added so much color and sparkle. So from the Halloween night die set, there are even more images. There's 2 pumpkins, there's this little ghost. So I'm going to use these as little embellishments on my card. Now this ended up not being enough. I still felt like I was missing something. So from last year's Halloween Haunted House add-on die set, I die cut the caution tape. And I added that caution tape to the front of my card, and that just looks adorable. I love how that turned out. I think these would also be great Halloween party invitations. This design was definitely a contender for my Halloween party, but I'm going to keep it simple this year. Every year for Halloween, I've done a pop-up. This year, I want to use the A7 cover plates that are in each of the new card kits. So I will have a video on both card kits next week. Those are my next videos I'm working on. All right, so now I have my lantern base pieces ready to go. I added vellum behind the windows again. I left one window open because, again, I'm going to add gray cardstock to close that window to add a custom message. So in this case, I didn't really care what was going to be the front of my card because I think each of these window panels are equally cute. So I didn't worry too much about lining everything up perfectly. So I just added my dark gray cardstock to close the back of the card. And that's where I'm going to write my message. You can also add your party information if you want these to be your invites this year. I'm going to go ahead and add my strong double-sided tape to each of the glue tabs. I'll attach them together to create one long base piece, and then I will close off each end to create this little box. So those orange glitter pumpkins I'm going to add to the back of the card, and the ghost I'm going to add to the front roof or topper. Here's my topper piece, just going to reinforce the score lines. Again, have those glue tabs facing up, add my glue to the left and right quadrants, and just pinch them together to attach them and lay it flat so that everything sticks nicely. I'll glue one triangle on the inside of the pyramid up and one down. And I've made so many lanterns at this point. I can make a lantern now in less than 5 minutes. So that was very quick, I know. But it's one of those dies where you really just have to make one or two before you have it down packed. I even taught this lantern as a class at one of the scrapbook expos this year, and people really, really love this die. It's definitely one of my favorites. And as you can see, you can use it beyond Christmas. I have now made a fall and 2 Halloween lanterns with it. And if you'd like to see Christmas inspiration, just go back 1 year. I have tons of videos for this. All right, so I'm going to stick my hook inside the pyramid. You saw that I just cut the tip off. That hook has a little like piece sticking at the bottom of it that you can stick into the hole, add some glue there so that it attaches. And that's just a different design you can add for the top instead of the larger hook that I used on my last card. So now I'm going to add that ghost to the top of the roof, and this is where I realized that I need something else. So I went for the caution tape. I love this particular die from that haunted house die set. Actually, you can use a lot of images from that set if you have it instead of the Halloween night, because I believe it comes with a ghost, some pumpkins, a little witch. So this one's a great accessory set as well. So I have 2 caution tapes. I'm going to add one to the top and bottom. So I'll go ahead and cut off the edges. And then I'm adding one more to the bottom at a slight angle. And I think that finished it off nicely. I also added 2 more pumpkins to this side of the lantern, because why not? Those small pumpkins are from the same haunted house add-on die set. So that way there's pumpkins all the way around. You can use those letters that are die cut from the caution strip if you want. I added another sparkly bat to the center of the spider web. I think I just found it on my desk, was like, okay, I guess I'll just add that. And then here are my tea lights. This time I like the orange better because there's so much orange on the pumpkins. But here I'm showing you the purple light and then also the orange, and that just stands out so well. Very, very cute. So thank you guys so much for watching. I forgot to mention that this is a part of a Instagram inspiration hop. So if you guys want to check out what the other design team members have made, definitely head over to my Instagram. I will have it linked down below. Here are all 3 cards that I made. Let me know which card is your favorite. And as usual, I will have all of the products I used listed in the video description. Congratulations, Bad Bunny, on the $50 gift card, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!